Hello friends and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Beats. Today we're going to talk about in-ear monitors. So this is for anyone who is thinking about getting into in-ear monitors or is at the start of their journey. I'm at the start of my journey. I'm by no means an expert, but I wanted to share my experience thus far, some pros and cons, and the gear I used to get me started. So being a wedge or foldback player my whole life, the thought of transitioning to IEM simply scared the out of me. I had no idea about that world. I was getting told, oh yeah, you're going to be isolated from the audience. And I was like, why would I want that? I'm happy being in my little wedge world, cranking my kick. I was lucky enough to have some really good sound techs, and I had a good mix most of the time. So yeah, I was happy with that. I could hear the room, I had the audience, it was awesome, you know, punk rock. But then my band came to me and said, hey man, we're transitioning to IEMs. So here we are. Now, before I get into the gear I used to get me started, I used to get the question of how do you protect your ears with using a foldback speaker? And what I was using was high fidelity earplugs. Now, you can get these in universal fit. There's a few brands that do them. I actually went out and got myself a set of custom molds. I felt they were more comfortable. And what these are designed to do is not cut out the frequency, so you can still hear the guitar, the vocalist really well, but just lower the volume. So this, along with my foldback speaker, I found a nice little happy spot there, and they did the job for a long time. Transitioning to in-ear monitors, I was told firstly to go out and pick myself up a set of in-ear monitor earbuds. So these are a set I use here. I'll go into which ones I've used and give you a bit of an overview later on in the video. The second thing you'll need is a headphone amplifier. So these can come in both a mono and stereo capability. I went and got myself a stereo one just because I wanted to have that option down the line. Running mono is fine and is a great way to get you started. These have the capability to strap on your belt. Most of these do. So some players prefer to have them strapped to their belt. Right here, and they have the control. I've got a bit of a hot tip for you. If you don't like things connected to you, like me, I wanted to have the control and reach over right here next to me and be able to control my volume. I went out and got myself a low set mic stand, and this has the capability to screw onto that. So I would do that and have it to the side of me and my headphones plugged in right there, and I just had a bit more control and I had nothing attached to me. That's what worked for me. Might work for you, might not. Just thought I'd add that in there. The third thing is a extension cord for my in-ear monitors. So 3.5mm jack extension cord, give me a bit more room to move on stage. I'm obviously wired. This is a wired system setup, and that's basically it. So what will happen is the XLR that's usually plugged into the back of the wedge goes straight into the back of this, and this amplifies the signal into your ears. Depending on the setup you have, if you're at a venue where the whole kit's mic'd, you'll get a sort of a mix from the sound tech to your liking, and then you have volume adjustment. And if you've got a stereo headphone amp, you have pan capabilities there. But it's really important, I've found, to keep your volume really low as you're getting your earphones in and finding that mix. You don't want to blast your ears. And away you go pretty much. As I said, it's not too technical to start with. My band uses a rack system, so we're completely independent on stage. That's a whole nother video. So some of the challenges I first faced with IEMs, or cons I should say, would be the setup time. I had to get ready a little bit earlier just to have my amp ready to the side of me, the right cords in, XLR in the back, and then obviously the mix right. Not a huge drama, and you do find your flow eventually. You do lose a little bit of room atmosphere, not as much as I first thought with universal molds, and that's what I'm using at the moment, just universal molds. You lose a bit of room atmosphere. You can still hear the crowd in some venues, but yeah, it is a little bit more isolating than just having the wedge. The biggest thing I missed too was the power of the kick drum that I was used to through using the wedge. You can still get a good kick mix through, but it's not kind of the same feel or vibe as having a foldback speaker there. But depending on the mix, the gear, and as you level up, that gets better. Hearing stage banter with your bandmates can be a little bit more challenging if they're not up close to the mic. I found myself lip reading a lot, but that comes in time, and with expansion, you can add more mics so you can hear that. So now to the, now to the pros. Biggest one being able to hear each individual instrument a bit more clearly. And my drum mix, the precision on the drums and each strike between the snare, the kick and the toms certainly improved. Super important one, it acts as a solid level of ear protection. You can get aftermarket foam earplugs. I find these work really well and they multi your ear a bit better. Third, although there is isolation as mentioned in the con, it's not as bad as I first thought. Molded could be a different story. I'm yet to try molds. I hope to down the line. So I wanted to provide you guys some affordable options to get you started in the in-ear monitor department. I have no affiliation with these brands. These are simply what I have had experience with. So the first set I ever got was a set of SHURE 215s. So these are these ones here. They come in different colors and whatnot. But yeah, super solid pair. These have been absolutely hammered over the time I've had them. They've been, dropped, thrown across the room when I've been frustrated with the tape, and they've withstood every challenge that I've put to them. In terms of sound quality, pretty decent. Single driver in both earbuds, but I find I got a decent bass response in the frequencies and some really nice little highs there. They're solid for what they are. I personally really like a good bass response. I just needed a little bit more oomph. So I did transition to a set of KZ ZS10s. You can do your research on these. These are really, really good for their price. 5 drivers in each earbud. Really good bass response with some really nice sparkle of the highs, which I really like. There's a bit of a dip in the mids, but as a drummer, I'm really all about the highs and the lows. And these do a really good job and super affordable. So check these out. These are called KZ ZS10s. That's the in-ear monitors I've used. There's plenty out there, but highly recommend these ones. If there's one tip I can provide when buying universal fit in-ear monitors, is that check the earbuds. If they don't fit well or you're getting too much noise come through, you can buy aftermarket foam tip earbuds, and these have worked really well for me. You just got to check out what is compatible with your model of in-ear monitors. But yeah, there's some really good ones out there. I find the foam tips really multi-ear a bit better. So now to headphone amplifiers. Now there are a few options out there across a few price points. I don't have any affiliation with these brands, but today I'm going to mention BEHRINGER, which do 2 popular models being the P1 and the P2. The P2 is a little bit more compact, so if you don't like big bulky items, go the P2, check that out, and I think it's a little bit more cheaper. I'm personally using the PreSonus HP2. This is a really good unit. It's a little bit more pricey, but I found that the sound amplification on this, the signal amplification, is very, very good. So I'd be careful if you pick one of these up. I barely even make it to halfway without it being loud enough, if you know what I'm saying. Most of these also have a switch on them that go from stereo to mono, so super easy there. So yeah, check out those brands. I will leave a link and some info in the description below. Rightio friends, it's that time, the end of the video, and I will leave by saying that your experience is going to change as you learn and grow in the in-ear monitor world. Mine certainly is with every practice, every show. And this is just simply my journey so far. So I hope that's helped some of you guys decide whether it's for you, whether it's not for you. Feel free to share some experiences in the comments below or some suggestions. We can definitely all learn something from each other's experiences. But until then, be sure to like and subscribe and come hang out in the next few videos. Bye for now.